the signal and the response high arbiter. Vexen stood before the Grand Council, his crystalline exoskeleton reflecting the dim light of the chamber. His normally vibrant blue hue had faded to a dull gray, a physiological sign of extreme distress. Among the Lumidari, the 18 representatives of the galactic harmony sat in silence, their varied anatomies all displaying signs of fear. Honored representatives, Vexen's voice resonated through the chamber. The Void Harbingers have breached the outer defensive ring. We have lost contact with the Proxima, Alteris, and Zenith sectors. 63 billion souls, gone. First speaker Tylara of the Sephiroth Collective raised a tendril. How many ships lost? 382 capital vessels, 926 support craft, 12 orbital defense platforms. Vexen's voice remained steady, but the cracks forming across his exoskeleton betrayed his anguish. Our weapons are ineffective. The Harbinger's adaptive shielding absorbs energy weapons, and their matter phase technology renders kinetic attacks useless. The representatives exchanged glances. The Galactic Harmony had known peace for 8,000 years. Their weapons were designed for peacekeeping, for defense, not for all-out war against an existential threat. Representative Morrigan of the Etherborn Syndicate spoke, her voice like wind through hollow reeds. The projections arbiter, Vexen, activated a holographic display at the center of the chamber. A visualization of the galaxy appeared, with a spreading crimson stain consuming entire sectors. At current rates of advance, the Harbingers will reach the core worlds in 42 days, total galactic extinction within 1 standard year. Silence fell over the chamber, heavy and oppressive. It was Representative Jewel of the Voidwalkers who spoke the unthinkable. There is one option we have not considered. All eyes, sensory stalks, and perception organs turn to the shadowy figure. The quarantined system. Earth. The chamber erupted in protests. The humans? They're savages. Uplifted primates with nuclear weapons. They would destroy us themselves if given the chance. First speaker Tylara raised all 4 tendrils, commanding silence. Representative Jules, you propose breaking the quarantine? The humans have been isolated for a reason. Their capacity for violence might be exactly what we need, Jules finished. We have monitored their development for centuries. Yes, they fight. Yes, they kill. But they have something we have lost across millennia of peace. The warrior's instinct. Vexen's crystalline form hummed in contemplation. The humans have developed unusual weapons. Their military doctrine is chaotic, unpredictable. They embrace concepts our tacticians would never consider. And their ability to endure suffering is unmatched, added Jewel. They come from a death world, gravity 20% higher than standard, atmospheric toxins, extreme weather, thousands of venomous species. They evolved as prey animals that became apex predators through sheer determination. First speaker Tylara's tendrils wavered. Even if we wanted their help, how would they respond? We have quarantined their system, prevented their expansion. Humans have a peculiar trait, Vexen said. They respond to distress calls. Throughout their history, even their most bitter enemies have set aside differences when facing natural disasters or common threats. The debate raged for days. In the end, desperation won out over caution. A signal was prepared. Simple, direct, containing only the essential information, to the people of Earth. We are the Galactic Harmony, a coalition of civilizations across the galaxy. We face extinction from an implacable enemy. Our weapons fail, our defenses fall. We request your aid. Coordinates and tactical data attached. The signal was sent, breaking 3 centuries of quarantine silence. No one in the Harmony expected what would follow. Fleet Admiral Helena Chen stared at the alien transmission, her weathered face betraying no emotion. Around her, the Joint Chiefs of the United Earth Defense Force maintained similar composure, though the air in the Pentagon's Omega bunker crackled with tension. Authentication? She asked. General Ibrahim Sato nodded. Signal origin, confirmed from deep space, 61 light-years out. Quantum encryption pattern unlike anything in our database. The translation matrix had to create an entirely new linguistic framework. He paused. It's real, Admiral. First verifiable contact. And they're asking for military aid, said General Maria Karim, leaning forward. After 300 years of radio silence, their first message is a call for help. The attached data? Admiral Chen asked. Director of Intelligence Alexei Volkov tapped his tablet. The holographic display in the center of the table came to life, showing bizarre ships of organic and crystalline design being consumed by what looked like living shadows. Their enemy appears to be some form of phase-shifted matter. Energy weapons are absorbed. Physical impacts pass through. Their casualty projections are total extinction. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. The quarantine? Asked Admiral Chen. Confirmed, said Volkov. Our deep space probes have been systematically redirected or disabled whenever they approached certain thresholds. We detected the gravitational lensing of their stealth platforms decades ago but could never penetrate their technology. Admiral Chen's eyes narrowed. So they've been watching us, judging us, containing us, and now they need our help. Yes, ma'am. She stood, her compact frame somehow filling the room with her presence. At 63, Helena Chen had commanded Earth's combined military forces through the Water Wars and the Mars Rebellion. Silver-streaked black hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and eyes that had witnessed humanity's darkest hours and brightest triumphs surveyed the room. Recommendations? The responses came without hesitation. Deploy the fleet. Show them what humanity can do. Help them, but on our terms. Admiral Chen nodded once. Prepare the Thunderhead Protocol. I want the 1st, 3rd, and 7th battle groups ready for deep space deployment within 48 hours. Full combat load. All experimental weapons platforms authorized. General Karim raised an eyebrow. Ma'am, that's nearly 40% of our total orbital firepower. If these void harbingers are as dangerous as the data suggests, we may need every ship we have. Admiral Chen's voice was steel. But first we show them our teeth. The aliens need to understand who they're dealing with. As the Joint Chiefs dispersed to execute her orders, Admiral Chen lingered, studying the alien message. Once more, after all this time keeping us in our cradle, she murmured, they've just invited the wolf into the fold. High Arbiter Vexen had not expected a response for weeks, perhaps months. Earth's technology, while advancing rapidly, should not have allowed for faster-than-light communication. He was wrong. Just 3 days after sending the distress signal, the quantum communicator chimed. A response. In perfect galactic standard. To the galactic harmony. Message received. Aid is coming. Prepare to receive UEDF battle groups at the provided coordinates in 120 hours. Stand by for further communications. Admiral Helena Chen, United. Earth Defense Force Vexen's crystalline form vibrated in shock. How? How could they respond so quickly? And in our language? First Speaker Telara seemed equally disturbed. Their linguistic capabilities are unexpected. And these battle groups, the terminology alone is concerning. We asked for military aid, Representative Jules reminded them. What did you expect? The answer came 5 days later when space itself seemed to tear open at the designated coordinates. Not 1 or 2 ships, but 37 warships emerged from what the humans called fold space, a form of FTL travel the Harmony had theorized but never mastered. The human vessels were unlike anything in the Harmony's experience. No elegant crystalline structures or organic curves. These were angular, aggressive machines of dark metal and carbon composites, bristling with weapon systems. Most disturbing were the kinetic accelerator cannons, massive railguns that ran the length of their largest vessels. Barbarians, whispered a Harmony tactician. They still rely on throwing metal at relativistic speeds. Effective barbarians, Jules noted, watching the tactical display as the human fleet moved into perfect formation around the Harmony's diplomatic vessel. Their precision is impressive. The communication request came minutes later. Vexen accepted, and the holographic projector manifested the image of a human female, small by Harmony standards, with dark hair streaked with silver and eyes that reminded Vexen of the event horizons of black holes, absorbing everything, revealing nothing. This is Admiral Helena Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. We received your distress call and have responded with 3 battle groups. Request permission to send a delegation to your vessel to coordinate our response to the threat. Vexen managed to compose himself. Granted, Admiral. We thank you for your swift response. The human's expression didn't change. Thank me when the job is done, Arbiter. Chen out. The transmission ended, leaving the Harmony representatives in stunned silence. They responded to a distress call from an unknown alien species with overwhelming military force. First speaker Tylara said slowly. What kind of civilization does that? The kind we need right now, Jewel replied. The kind that survives. The human delegation arrived 2 hours later in a craft the size of a Harmony cruiser. When the airlock cycled open, Vexen and the diplomatic team got their first in-person look at humanity. Admiral Chen led the group, 5 humans of varying colors and builds, all wearing dark uniforms adorned with insignia and ribbons that Vexen assumed signified rank and achievements. They moved with a predator's grace that sent instinctive shivers through the Harmony representatives. Hi, Arbiter Vexen, Admiral Chen said, offering a slight bow. On behalf of Earth, I extend greetings and pledge our support against this threat. Vexen performed the traditional greeting of his species, a harmonic resonance from his crystalline form. Admiral Chen, the Galactic Harmony welcomes you with gratitude. Your swift response to our plea is unexpected. A slight smile touched the human's lips. We've been waiting for first contact for centuries, Arbiter. Though I admit we expected more of a hello and less of a help us. We're dying. The bluntness shocked Vexen, but before he could respond, Admiral Chen continued. We've analyzed your data on these void harbingers. We need to know everything, their patterns, weaknesses, any successful tactics you've employed. Then I'll brief you on our engagement plan. First speaker Tylara floated forward, her tendrils twitching in distress. Admiral, with respect, we have been fighting this enemy for months. Our tacticians have exhausted all conventional approaches. Good thing we don't do conventional, said a human male beside Chen. The insignia identified him as General Ibrahim Sato. Humanity specializes in the unconventional. Admiral Chen's darks, eyes fixed on Vexen. You reached out to us because your weapons and tactics have failed. You broke your own quarantine because you needed something different. Her voice hardened. Well, different has arrived. Now let's talk about how humanity fights wars. The why, battle and the aftermath. The Harmony's tactical center had never hosted alien life before. Now it contained 5 humans who stalked around the holographic displays with predatory focus, discussing concepts that made the Harmony tacticians uncomfortable. Kinetic kill vehicles at relativistic speeds, General Sato was saying, pointing to the simulation of a void harbinger. If their phase-shifting technology has a refresh rate or cycle, we overload it with volume of fire. And if that fails, added General Karim, we deploy the Nova warheads. Artificial microsingularities should affect any form of matter, phase-shifted or not. First speaker. Tylara's tendrils curled in horror. You would use singularity weapons? The collateral damage is acceptable compared to extinction, Admiral Chen finished. This is what you asked for when you contacted Earth, Speaker Tylara. We don't fight to maintain peace. We fight to win. Vexen observed the humans with growing unease. Their approach to warfare was fundamentally different. The Harmony fought defensively, with precision, minimizing casualties and damage. These, humans spoke of acceptable losses and force multiplication and asymmetric warfare, as if they were discussing the weather. Most disturbing was their comfort with violence. It wasn't that they enjoyed it. Vexen could detect no pleasure in their discussions of killing, but they accepted it as a tool, a means to an end. The Harbingers have adapted to your predictable, measured responses, Admiral Chen explained. They expect you to value every life, to withdraw when casualties mount, to follow the same tactical doctrines you've used for millennia. Her eyes gleamed. We won't do that. What will you do? Asked Vexen. Whatever it takes. The word sent a chill through his crystalline form. The battle began 3 days later, when Void Harbinger forces entered the Lyra sector, a region containing 12 inhabited worlds with a population of 8 billion souls. The Harmony Defense Fleet, bolstered by the human battle groups, waited in orbit around Lyra Prime. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Thunderchild, watching the tactical display as the Harbinger vessels, if they could be called vessels, emerged from fold space. They appeared as writhing masses of shadow absorbing light and matter alike. All ships execute Battle Plan Hydra, she ordered. Weapons free. What followed shocked the Harmony observers embedded with the human fleet. The human ships didn't maintain formation. They scattered in seemingly random patterns, firing their main kinetic accelerators in a thunderous barrage. Relativistic projectiles streaked toward the Harbinger shadows. Most passed through harmlessly as expected. But the sheer volume, thousands of projectiles per minute, revealed a pattern. Occasionally, a projectile would connect, tearing chunks from the shadow forms. There, Chen pointed. They can only phase for 1.3 seconds before needing to revert to normal matter for 0.2 seconds. Calculate the cycle and time our strikes. The human AI systems adapted instantly, adjusting the firing rhythm of the entire fleet to coincide with the Harbinger's vulnerable moments. More hits landed. Shadow forms began to rupture. The Harbingers responded by accelerating toward the planet, seeking to bypass the defensive line. They're heading for the population centers, a Harmony commander warned. Standard tactic. They'll use civilians as shields, knowing we won't fire into urban areas. Admiral Chen's expression didn't change. All ships, maintain fire. Do not adjust targeting parameters. The Harmony commander stared in horror. Admiral, there are 8 billion people on that planet, and they'll all die if we let the Harbingers land, Chen replied evenly. Sometimes you have to sacrifice a building to save a city. The human barrage continued. When the Harbingers reached the upper atmosphere, Chen gave another order. Deploy. Nova packages. Target the largest concentration of Harbinger forces. Throughout the human fleet, special missiles launched, each containing what the humans called a null space vacuum agitator. Where they detonated, space itself collapsed into temporary microsingularities. The effect on the Harbingers was catastrophic. Their phase-shifting technology offered no protection against the fundamental warping of spacetime. Dozens of shadow forms were torn apart, pulled into the rapidly dissipating singularities. But the cost was high. 3 major cities on Lyra Prime suffered catastrophic damage from the gravitational distortions. Millions died in moments. The surviving Harbingers retreated, folding away into the darkness between stars. For the first time in the conflict, they had been driven back. On the Thunderchild's bridge, Admiral Chen turned to the Harmony commander, whose color had faded to near transparency with shock. Casualties? She asked quietly. Preliminary estimates suggest 3 million dead, 5 million injured, 3 cities effectively destroyed. Chen nodded once. Acceptable. The planet stands. The other 8 billion live. Acceptable? The Harmony commander's voice was barely a whisper. You just killed 3 million people and saved 8 billion more, Chen replied. That's a victory. Ratio of over 96%. They were people, not statistics. In war, they're both. Chen's voice remained calm. This is what you asked for when you called Earth. This is humanity. We make the hard choices that you can't or won't. In the weeks that followed, the pattern repeated across a dozen systems. The human fleet engaged the Harbingers with a savagery that stunned the Harmony observers. They employed tactics that violated every principle of Harmony warfare, using civilian populations as bait, sacrificing their own ships in suicide runs, deploying weapons of terrible destruction, and they were winning. The Harbingers, faced with an enemy that didn't follow predictable patterns, that absorbed casualties without retreating, that matched their own ruthlessness, began to withdraw from Harmony space. 2 months after the humans arrived, High Arbiter Vexen stood before the Grand Council once more. The mood was mixed. Relief at survival tempered by horror at the methods used to achieve it. "The Void Harbingers have retreated beyond the galactic rim," Vexen reported. "Admiral Chen believes they won't return." "At what cost?" asked First Speaker Telara. Her once vibrant tendrils had dulled with grief. 17 worlds scarred by human weapons. 112 million dead from collateral damage. Compared to 63 billion already lost before the humans arrived, Representative Jules countered. Compared to the extinction they prevented. "The humans have requested a formal alliance," Vexen continued. "They want access to our fold space technology, star charts beyond their current reach, and the right to establish colonies outside their quarantine zone." Silence fell over the chamber. "And if we refuse?" a representative asked. Vexan's crystalline form darkened. Admiral Chen didn't threaten, but her implication was clear. The quarantine only worked because humans didn't know we existed. Now they do. They've seen our technology, our weaknesses. They know they can defeat us if they choose. "So it's an alliance or subjugation," Telara said bitterly. "No," Vexen corrected. "It's an alliance or coexistence as equals. The humans don't want to rule us, but they won't be ruled either." "Can we trust them?" another representative asked. "They kill so easily." "They kill when necessary," Jules said. "There's a difference. Their ship sustained 40% casualties, protecting Lyra Prime. Human soldiers died by the thousands, drawing Harbinger forces away from civilian centers. They may deal death efficiently, but they also sacrifice themselves readily." Vexan activated a holographic recording. Admiral Chen appeared, addressing the council directly. "Representatives of the Galactic Harmony, you called for help, and humanity answered. We fought your war our way, the only way that would succeed. Now you face a choice. Continue to fear us, to treat us as something to be contained, or accept us as allies, with all the benefits and challenges that entails. Humanity isn't perfect. We're violent when threatened, protective of our own, and we make the hard choices that sometimes keep us awake at night. But we're also explorers, creators, dreamers. We've spent centuries looking to the stars, hoping we weren't alone. You can have humanity as a shield, a sword against the darkness beyond your borders, or you can have us as a potential enemy. The choice is yours. But remember, the universe has teeth. You've seen that now. Sometimes to survive, you need teeth of your own." The recording ended, leaving the council in contemplative silence. First Speaker Telara spoke finally. "We believed ourselves advanced, enlightened, beyond the primitive violence of our evolutionary past. We thought peace was the pinnacle of civilization." Her tendrils wavered. "Perhaps we were wrong. Perhaps true wisdom lies in maintaining the capacity for necessary violence, while choosing peace whenever possible. The humans have a saying," Vexen offered. "Si vis pacem para bellum." If you want peace, prepare for war. How paradoxical, Telara mused. How human. The Grand Council voted unanimously to accept the alliance. The quarantine that had contained Earth for 3 centuries was officially lifted. Throughout the galaxy, news spread. The humans were coming. Saviors and destroyers. Protectors and warriors. The species that had faced extinction and responded with overwhelming force had a new place in the galactic order. The Harmony had sent a distress signal, expecting aid. What arrived had horrified them, and saved them. Humanity had joined the stars.